Good day guys, welcome back to Langrisser M news from the future. So coming to you on the CN server from April to and May is the banner for this month's heroes and heroines. So I'm part of this video featuring the second hero, Abishai or Abishai. So as you guys has already seen in the opening, you thought, or perhaps I thought when I first seen this character, I thought she's a heroine, but well, apparently it's not a she. It's Boku no Pico, and do not search that. So yep, he has a chin down there. So alright, RIP. So it's the same case again. When I first saw Chris or Orochi Chris from the King of Fighter 97, I thought that's a little girl lolly, but well, it's a kid, is a guy. Well, so on part 2 of video, the usual stuff split into 3 sections. Part 1 featuring the voice actor-actress pack, some stats and background stories, followed by the voice pack. On part 2, get into the game, the character's talent, factions, 3C exclusive skills, etc. And last but not least, we'll end with characters, style play, build, pros and cons, and enchantment. So are you guys ready? Let's get started. So alright, last but not least, before we carry on, a very great thanks to information shared and provided by the Langrisser mobile app, Soyu, and presenting to you for the month second hero, it's Abishai, the human-made weapon or ancient civilizations weapon. We'll find more in a while. Pity such a slender body, but is a guy. Nope. So right, Abishai is, so correct me if I'm wrong, the pronunciation should be Abishai or Abishai. So the Chinese pronunciation is Abu Saita, and we'll find out more during the voice pack later on. And apparently this character is voiced by none other than Miss, I'm going to presume it's Miss, I'm not sure if she's married yet, by Miss Akeno Watanabe-san, and some of the famous work she has been voicing. Below on the left is Gintama, if I'm not wrong the name should be pronounced as Dokuo, and on the right is Tayuya from Naruto. And of course, if you're not familiar with those following 2 characters that she voiced, the more recent characters that she also voiced as leading character is, well, the Ichi anime To Love Ru. She voiced as the male leading character Yukirito. Then she also voiced as Midnight in Boku no Hero Academia, My Hero Academia. Last but not least, from the anime Overlord, she voiced as these demonic hamsters known as Hamusuke. So if you're more curious about the voice roles that she did or do, feel free to check out on Wikipedia. So alright, back to Langrisser Millennium WS. For these characters, yep, he belongs to the series background stories. So trying my best to give you guys some loose translations. Okay, so line by line. Here's a commander sent by the Misla country to the to the Lempo nations, that is like kind of like those neutral team, as we have seen in the Langrisser 1. The team that General Bodemix belongs to. Limpang is loosely translated as the federal army. Yep, federal army, federal troops. He has been sent there as a commander, and he is a experimental product from the court of light to is a man-made product of this thing called the real God, and he is known as emotionless angel. So on appearance wise, he looks like a Bishonen, that means a handsome young lad, but in deep within his heart is full of destruction, destructions, crazy thoughts. Yep, or should I say, deep within his heart, it's a crazy thought towards destroying and destructions. Then some of the characters he has relationship with is, very surprisingly, with Shion. So as a commander being sent by the Misla country, or should I say the Misla theocracy. Well, sorry about that. These are very deep English words. The Misla theocracy. Abishai likes to he joined in with the thoughts of having fun for trying to grab hold on the big angel or the great or archangel missions. He intends to make use of this great power to destroy everything in his path and to feel pleasure, ultimate pleasure through the end of the destructions. Because of this, he is gonna have a battle or final battle with Shion, who stands on the opposite end against him, where, well, he's the one who likes to destroy everything. Shion is the one who wants to protect everything. So we do mention the archangel, archdemon, or great angel or great demon. I guess they are referring to Langrisser and Hellhazard. So I've not played the game thus far, but based on the last line here, okay. So the following is just direct translations: great angels and great demon. I'll make sure to help the federal army search for it, but I don't intend to leave it to the federal. Such great stuff I'll be saving for myself to play with. So okay, it more or less confirmed. So the great angels and great demons refers to Langrisser and Hellhazard here. So this is the only one he has relationship with, and last but not least, this is a chibi cute art of Abishai from Melcel to Liana, Granda Curry of his characters. So usually this is kind of like a mid storyline boss where, you know, I'm not sure if it's like a direct human being altered to machine-like device. I mean, it looks organic with mechanical here, or it's just purely machine of destructions. But usually these kinds of characters who like to destroy everything, they are like a mid-tier boss, then standing on extreme end against leading characters. So either he's gonna be the mid boss or he's gonna be the final boss of the game. So right, and before we go to part 2, this is his voice pack. So let me tune out the volume.
僕はアブシャイと特別に君たちと遊んであげるよ。ルールは簡単。僕が君たちを皆殺しにするか、君たちが僕を殺すかだよ。
Alright, and so that's a voice pack, some crazy line, loose translation. So again, so I'll be going his pronunciation, Abishai. So Abushai. Apparently, it's not Abishai, it's Abishai. So my name is Abishai, or I am called Abishai. I have granted you a chance to play with me. The game of the rule is simple. Either I will kill you or you will try to kill me. So, well, emotionless killing machines voice line. So let's hear it one last time before we go to part 2.
僕はアブシャイと特別に君たちと遊んであげるよ。ルールは簡単。僕が君たちを皆殺しにするか、君たちが僕を殺すかだ。
So alright, that's it, and with that we'll end part 1, going to part 2, and here we go. So alright, we are now back, and on part 2 we're going through about all the talent, skills and effect he will be having, and here we go. So again, before I continue, some slightly extra background info that additional info provided here again. So highest commander from the Federal Army, the Misla Church sent him to the Federal as both an special envoy and also the gods representative. He is a cruel, arrogant Hamson lad who like to fight or battle. Okay, some minor additional. So, okay, coming to the talent. So and his faction first. So these are the factions. Okay, he is from darkness, yellows, and mythical realm. So okay, that's pretty cool. Quite advantage for him. Currently, darkness 3C, we have Slina, the younger sister of Empress Enya for darkness faction buff. For yellows, we have Empress Enya and Landis. Then last but not least, for mythical realm, the current meta, we might still have Dragon Mama, ISO Dead for the current meta. Okay, for his talent. Okay, the talent is loosely translated as Killing Call of Madness. So watch to the end for the translations I've done for you guys. So the effects are as follows. Number 1, when using active skills, the skills will not enter CD. Number 2, after using active skills, you will gain number of layers of buff equals to the CD turn of the skills. The buff is known as Overheat. We'll call it OH or O for short. Overheat has the following effect. First, increase damage deal by 6% of each buff you had. So the cap limit is at 30%. Second, this effect cannot be immune nor dispelled. Okay. Number 3, when you end your turn, if you have not used skills, you will lose 1 layer of overheat buff. Number 4, upon reaching 5 layers of overheat buff, you will gain the following buff effect for 1 turn, known as overload. So we'll call it OL buff in short. So OL buff will have the following effect. First, ignore 15% of enemies' defense. Second, when you use skills, the skills will enter CD. Third, you will not gain OL buff. When you use the skills, you're not able to regain it again. Fourth, upon losing OL buff, 5 layers of overheat buff will be removed. Fifth, this effect cannot be immune nor dispelled. So that's it for his talent. Kind of long compared to Lukman, that is short, sweet and easy. He seems a little bit more gimmick play, but don't worry, let's summary and go through again. So first thing is, just think of him, every time you use the skills, you gain overheat buff, and upon reaching 5 layers, you will go on to overload. You will gain overload buff. You can treat it as his switching around mode. So first off is, before you go into overload, any skills that you use, they will not enter CD. So in return, you will gain overheat buff. So for example, if you're using a skill Sword Soul that has a CD of 5 turns, if you cast Sword Soul against enemy, Sword Soul CD will not be reduced, and instead you'll gain 5 stack of overheat buff. Okay, then for each overheat buff you had, you increase damage deal by 6% and cap at 30%, so it's 5 layers. Then this effect cannot be immune nor dispelled. So even if you get the buff effect, like not able to gain buff, it will not be stopped. So pros and cons. Then next is, however, when you end turn, if you have not used any skill at all, you will lose 1 layer of overheat buff. Then the next thing is, upon reaching 5 layer of overheat, you will gain an additional buff. I'm presuming you'll gain a separate buff, because later on it did mention something else, so bear with me. So upon reaching 5 layers of overheat, you will gain overload buff for 1 turn. So it's actually a buff, giving you some pros and cons effect. The pros is that it gives you inbuilt mechanism of ignoring 15% of enemy's defense, whether you go into battle or not. It just having this effect when as long as you use skills, so no worries. Then or whether you use skills or not, my apologies. Then second is, the downside is, when you're in overload mode, once you use skills that you use will enter CD phase. Then third is, you will not gain overload buff again when you try to use skills this turn. Then last but not least, upon losing the overload buff, 5 layers of overheat buff will be removed. So again, this effect cannot be immune or dispelled. So this means even if you get the buff effect, like not able to gain buff, it will not stop this from happening. Correct me if I'm wrong. Then that's it for his skills. So he's having it's kind of like the collab hero, Akafel. So Akafel is, instead of using skill CD, you'll be using energy charge, but for him it works the opposite. When you use skills, you'll gain a charge, and upon reaching 5 charge, you kind of go overload and you need to discharge, and your skills will start going CD. Okay, so don't worry if you still don't quite understand. Feel free to check out the end translations to go through, and of course can't wait to actual demo play to see results, or wait to part 3 for the pros and cons we'll be going through later on. Okay, exclusive skill 1, loosely translate as burst drive, is a 1C skill with a CD of 2 turns. The range is self-targeting. The AoE type is single target. It is both a passive and active skills. The effects are as follow. So apparently his skills is kind of long, the descriptions. Hey, passive is a one-liner, so not so bad. Okay, the effect as follows for passive. Number 1, when you enter and do not have the buff OL, aka overload, you can move 2 blocks and attack again. Okay, we'll go through one by one. So the passive skill, this is definitely a must equip passive skill. This is pretty strong, meaning you will be able to act again as long as you do not have overload, and this means that you can keep choosing to act again for at least 2 to 3 times if he has any inbuilt if you're using any skills that is like 2 or below. So if you have any 1C skills that you can keep spamming, it's gonna be 5 turns. If not, if it's just 2C skills, that this skills is 2 CD 2 CD skills, so you can spam 3rd time, because first 2 times you're getting 4 charge. The 3rd time you spam it, you gain 6 overheat, which is more than 5 and above, you gain 1 overload. So around the line, because there's no once per turn effect. That's pretty cool. So when you enter and do not have overload buff, you can move 2 blocks and attack again. Okay, we'll find out more during the pros and cons details. Okay, now coming to the active skill sections. Active, the effect are as follows. So apparently these are self-buffing skills. Number 1, increase attack intelligence by 20% for 2 turns. Number 2, you will obtain shoe buff, which give you the following effect. First, you will be immune to debuff effects when you have shoe buff. Second, you will be able to block damage up to 25% of your max HP. Number 3, when you use these skills, when you have overload buff effect, the following will happen. First, you'll reduce all other skills CD by -1. Second, you heal yourself whole unit 100% HP. Third, when you enter, buff turn will not be reduced, and shield buff will become super shield instead, and you gain additional increment effect again. Also, this is a power up version of the shield effect. Effect as follow. First, you'll be immune to all debuff effect. Second, you will be able to block damage up to 50% of your HP instead. So do take note, both shield and super shield buff effect cannot be dispelled. So this is a support skills effect. It has a original version and a power up version. So definitely gonna equip it, and once you spend this, you will need to use other skills to do combo with it. That's my suggestion. So okay, quick summary. So this is a mini faction, offensive faction buff. So it gives you attack intelligence increment for 2 turns, 20%. Then you obtain shield. The shield, both shield and super shields give you immune to debuff effect while you still have the shields on. The only difference is normal shield give you a damage blocking of up to 25% of your max HP, whereas super shields give you a damage blocking of 50% of your max HP. Then the difference is so when you are not having overload buff, you'll be only gaining normal shields and attack intelligence increment of 20% only. Whereas when you are at overload buff, in addition to gaining attack intelligence increment of 20% for 2 turns, you'll trigger reduce other skill CD by -1. You'll heal yourself 100% of your health. Then when you end turn, your buff will not be reduced. Buff turn will not be reduced. Then you will gain super shield instead, which also immune to all debuff effect. But you'll be able to block up to 50% damage of your HP. You'll be able to block up to 50% damage, which is 50% of your HP value. And the great thing is that both of the shield effect cannot be dispelled by enemies, so that's pretty cool. Okay, exclusive skill 2. So apparently you only have 2 exclusive skills. Exclusive skill 2 is roughly translated as Energy Torrent. It's a 2C skill, has a CD of 3 turns. The range is 3 blocks. The AoE type is physical straight line. So the effects are as follows. Number 1, attack and deal 0.36 times damage to enemies in 3 straight lines. Then the following number 2 and number 3 is PvP or PvE effect. So I'll be talking about the PvP effect first. So number 2, damage enemies will gain the debuff, disable the debuff, which will disable their accessories effect for 2 turns, and this effect cannot be dispelled. Number 3, for PvE, the damage enemies will gain the debuff effect, increase damage received by 20% for 2 turns and cannot be dispelled. Number 4, when this skill is cast when you have overload buff effect, additional effect will happen. First, damage blocks by your skill will gain a 2-turn terrain effect known as Energy Trap. Energy Trap terrain will have the following effect. When enemies move and enter in the terrain, they will take fixed damage based on the caster attack times 1. So okay, there's an AoE, not too bad. So okay, 0.36 times AoE damage in 3 straight line, quite good. So PvP wise is a very strong effect because it will disable enemies accessory effect for 2 turns, and not to mention this debuff cannot be dispelled, but however it can be prevented from like Liana's Gospel or Rosenseal's Crystal Protections. So however, if you do not bring any of such skills, that's a sad case for your characters. Then when you are when you're in overload mode, or when you have an overload buff, the damage when you cast this AoE, any blocks that you damage or your skill will touch on or reach on will become a 2 turns terrain effect. So the energy trap is a terrain effect. If enemies stand and enter on the terrain, they will take your attack times 1 as fixed damage. So pros and cons for characters like Papa Vargas, who has already transformed, LLR Papa Vargas. I think having this fixed damage terrain is a great deal for him because he can heal himself. Yep, because this effect is you cannot be negated, so it can be negated, so not too bad. Pros and cons: if characters aside from Papa Vargas, they do not bring bracer items or any items that prevents from fixed damage, it might be bad for them. So this skill has a CD of 3 turns, so if you try to combo with exclusive skill 1, this means you can spam it twice before you went to overload mode and your skills went into CD, so not too bad. Okay, last but not least, 3C, a CD of 4 turns, so this means you can spam 2 times of your 3C based on the talent's effect before you enter CD. So right, it has both passive and active. The 3C effect, its name and effect is loosely translated as stripping of life. Yep, that's a skill. It's a CD of 4 turns. The range is 1 block. The AoE type is physical single target. Okay, we'll split into passive and active. The passive, going first. Number 1, for each layer of overheat buff you had, reduce damage taken by 6%. The cap limit is at 30%. So this is just giving you damage reductions for yourself. This is a passive effect to increase your chance of survival when fighting against or when being attacked against from enemy. Not too bad, not too great. Active skills, the effect as follow. Number 1, attack and deal 1.8 times damage to target enemy. Number 2, for each layer of overheat buff you had, dispel the same amount of buff from enemy. Number 3, when this skill is used when you have overload buff, additional effect will happen. First, you'll increase your crit rate of the skills by 100%. Second, heal 30% of damage to HP after battle. Third, if target enemy is killed, overload buff will be removed after the battle. And last but not least, upon trigger of this third effect of removing overload buff, you need to wait 5 turns before you can remove overload buff with this skill again. Okay, not too bad. So have some additional inbuilt mechanism to allow you to or help with spamming your skills and abusing it again. So not too bad. I'm not sure if my understanding is right. So apparently, based on text itself, it seems like if enemy is currently near me, I just walk towards the enemy without any overheat buff. I will attack the enemy with this 3C. So let's say the enemy is not killed, then with exclusive skill 1 passive effect, I can, when I do not have overload buff, I can move 2 blocks and attack again. So I can attack with 3C again. So now I have 3C and I have this overload. During this overload, I'm not sure the second time when I spam it, does this skill straight away go into CD, or I may be able to spam it one more time. If I can spam a third time, and if the enemy is killed, I can cast then overload is being removed, I can act again and attack once more. So I can spam like a minimum 2 times, a maximum of 3 times. So we'll find out more during the pros and cons in a while. So kind of amazing with this character description. And in case you're wondering, I personally feel that this character is going to be strong because, well, Lukman starts with L, and Lukman seems to be standing on the good side for this banner, and Abishai stands on the bad side. So Lukman start with L and Abishai start with A, so A for Al Hazard. So that's how I feel. And okay, we'll be going through part 3 right now because I can't wait to find out if my thoughts and guess about the ways to spam this character skills is correct or not. So are you guys ready? Here we go. So alright, we are now at part 3, pros and cons sections, and what you're looking at right now is kind of a meme that the players or the group that made about Abishai, and we'll be talking about it in a while. Because before we carry on, a very great thanks to information shared and provided by the Monghua Moizan, so called the Langrisser Data Bank. And the following, it says Abishai is a meme. He's doing the dance from he I shall not mention, is saying Abishai is able to move 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and on the 5th times he will enter overload, and I'm not sure what this means. We will be finding out soon. Here we go. So some important points in red is whether he's using single target or AoE type of skills, the skills will not enter CD and will base on the CD turns. You give himself the number of layers, equivalent layers of overheat buff. So each buff provides 6% damage increment, and the max you can gain is 30% damage increment. So this is how the icon is going to look like, overheat. So can you zoom in? So you can see steam and gas is emitting from Abishai's body. Upon reaching 5 layers, you'll gain 1 layer of overload, where at the same time any type of attack from you is ignoring 15% of enemy's defense. But during this time when you use active skills, the skills will enter CD. Okay, so this is an icon, overload. So it's like a rig burning energy crystals, and yep, it says ignoring 15% of enemies defense. And I think that there's something changes. So when you get overheat, there seems like burning tentacle auras beneath his leg. Then when you're in overheat, it becomes burning aura that reach upon his head level. I'm not sure if that's the difference in effect. So apparently the exclusive skill 1 with the passive is when you don't have overload buff, you can move 2 blocks and attack again. Is definitely going to be his core skills. So yep, there's no direct actual limit except for the number of turns of CD that you use causing to overload. So there is going to be a certain limit of times you can abuse this skill's effect against the enemy. So So sorry about the background noise. So as they have seen written here is, as long as you have used skills and you have not entered overload mode, you can move 2 blocks and attack again. So all you need to do is spam or bring along skills with a low CD, with single target or AoE. As long as it's 2 CD and less, you can spam at least 2 to 3 times. So that's pretty cool. And not to mention, these skills, well, in the inbuilt offensive mechanism for him is like a mini faction buff. You gain 20% attack and intelligence for Abishai, and you also gain the shield protections effect, which is similar to Dragon's Mama. I saw that as mentioned here, which can immune to all debuff effect when you have the shield. Then under overload mode, when you use the skills, you can reduce other skill CD by 1 turn, full HP recovery, and the shield increase to 50% HP value. So as you can see here, so you can see the yellow mark is 50%. Not to mention, wow, I did not really notice, but this is the first time I kind of forget about it. But even the soldiers unit, they're gaining 50% shield too. That is great. So you can see this overload mode. And oh, that's a great information to share with you guys, is that this shield, in addition to himself, he can stack his shield effect with Evil God Kruger and SP Tiaris characters with shield effect. So his shield is treated as a different shield icon with other characters. So okay, the below is showcase. So as you can see, is gaining this shield, and you can see the third icon is the Dark Wall. This is from Evil Gods Kruger, to block 20% of your max health limit. Then the last icon is Overload Great Shield or Overload Shield, immune to all debuff and gaining your so-called 50% shield. These are based on the HP, and they can stack. Okay, I'm not sure if Zilong is going to fix this or treat this as a bug in future, but as of the current test out, it worked this way. Okay, for the 3C, let's see if they explain how many times we can spend. Is it 2 times or 3 times? So as mentioned here, okay, they have not mentioned yet. They're just talking about the benefits he can enjoy from the 3C during his overload, from before overload and after overload phase. After overload, he can enjoy 30% damage increment, ignore 15% enemy defense, and has enjoyed 30% damage reduction, and enjoy 100% crit rate. Then for the number of times of dispel, oh, okay, so there's no cap or some cap stack limit for his 3C effect of numbers of dispelling from overheat. So when you use skills, you first gain overheat. So when you cast the 3C, overheat will take into calculations first before you attack, and which in return you gain damage increment first. So this is how his gimmick works, which is pretty cool. So when you use 3C, the minimum dispel you get is 4 dispel. Then after you enjoy cooldown or sort, the maximum you can gain is 10 stack of dispel. I'm not sure how it works. Let's see if we can find out. Okay, the below picture shows the dispel that you are doing when fighting against LLR Dragon Slayers, aka Papa Vargas. Is 13 layers, so 8 layers of overheat when stacking with Abishai using 3C, so 8 plus 4 equals to 12. So you will straight up dispel all the buff, all dispellable buff LLR Vargas will enjoy. So let us check out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So total, all in all, he has 15 buff. Some cannot be seen, but some is like revive effect is not a buff. But what I can see is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think he has like at least 14 buff. So let's check out the next picture. So after this spell, he's only left with 3 buff. And the first one is his revive effect. So let's count again. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He is supposed to have 15 buff. Or 14 buff in total, but after the 3C stacks and overheat from Abishai, Papa Vargas is only left with 2 buffs, so there is no direct cap limit from Abishai, but the minimum that this player tried so far is 12. Okay, sorry, corrections. What I mentioned is the dispellable buff Papa Vargas have with him is 13. So the dispel you are able to do is 12. So he only left with 1. Okay, only left with +2 mobility, and the first and third buff are non-dispellable buff. And okay, hopefully now we are getting to the main point about the number of times he can act again. So in PvP, we can make use or abuse the 2C effect of Raw or Sun Slash, and 3C, and switching around from 3C will be used on the second or third time, and after successfully killing enemies, overload mode will be removed. So that's why in a single turn you can do 4 act again, and thus the meme that you guys seen at the beginning. So the below is a process of showing the skills combo you can use for abusing 2C skills. So you'll be using air slash first time, second air slash you enter 4 layers of overheat. So the third time you'll be using 3C, but you gotta make sure your 3C successfully kills the enemy. You automatically remove overload, so you'll be able to spam the 4th time air slash. That is the best and perfect conditions Okay, the below it's animation, so animation speaks louder than words and explanation, so let us have a check on how it works. First we go with an air slash, second air slash, so third 3C, Elwin dies, remove 5 layers. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So okay, let's watch it again. So right, oh, now I understand why it's only 4 times, not 5 times or more, because first 2 times you gain, let's say air slash, a 2C skills is a 2 blocks range skills. So on the third you'll be using 3C because you will enter overload, but if you manage to successfully kill off the enemy, so is 2 plus 2, 4 layers of overheat. With 3C, which is 4 CD, you will gain 8 overheat charge. Thus you will go into 1 overload state, but upon using 3C to kill off the enemies, you will also remove your overload, and at the same time remove 5 layers of overheat. So 8 minus 5, you're left with 3. So if you try to attack again with your 2C, you enter overheat again, and thus you're not able to abuse the act again from your exclusive skill 1, because upon reaching 5 stacks of overheat you will enter overload again. But it's very scary, as you can see. Okay, let's check again. The 4th time or 5th time is his 3C in CD. Just to double confirm, I missed out the part. Okay, how do I use it? Okay, now he's gonna use the 3C. Okay, it got removed. Is it still under CD? Oh, okay. So you will enter overload first, and your skills will went to CD. So it's not after the process, but it's before the process. So we can't really abuse it in the way I have thought initially. Okay, very great, very strong, very cool. Alright, and now let's check out other stuff. So alright, as seen from the clip, this is how you abuse his skills in PvP. Then for PvE wise, okay, they do mention, well, I'm not sure if he will be playing with Clock Enchantment, but apparently the above states that on this method of playing is when Clock Enchantment, this character is playing in the build that he does not is not using Clock Enchantment. So after using all the skills in battle plus your 3C and a multiple trigger, you're gonna have a 2 to 3 turns time frame where you have no skills to use with, which is true. Then in PvE sequence, when fighting against boss enemies, this is the following combo you can try it out to use. So you're talking about okay, first turn you'll be using, so there's a first and second method. First method is using air slash, second air slash, then on the third air slash, so there's a triple act again, or triple attack. So third air slash, you will enter overheat. So on the second turn, so on the left is first turn, the second one on the right is second turn. So on the second turn, you can choose to normal attack to clear your overload and gain overheat. Or clear your overheat. Then the second method is, so everything is in sequence. So third is first turn. Then on the top left is first turn, how you can spam. Then on top right is second turn, you will normal attack and wait for an empty period and also to clear off your overheat. On the third turn, you can spam other skills like Sun Slash and plus another 2 air slash again. Then on the fourth turn, you can normal attack and clear off your overload and overheat. So this is how you can spam in every way. So you can spam on the first turn, second turn cooldown, third turn spam again, and on the fifth turn cooldown. So it's a cooldown on every even turns. So you can make this as a loop. Okay, again there's a clip for you guys to see, so let's see how it looks like. Okay, let me repeat again. S slash, S slash, so four stacks of overheat. Third S slash, you gain 6 overheat and send yourself into overload. So second turn, you normal attack, and because you have not used skills, etc. So the overload will also clear off. You will clear 1 charge of overheat, and also overload. When the buff disappears, you will clear off 5 charge of overheat. So third turn, so this is an infinity safe loop of playing and using these characters. In PvE, and this is not that is not spamming the 3C but spamming 2C. Then okay, next is talking about other pros about him. Is in comparison to other damage attackers, Abishai is able to move up to 4 times. Is still very strong, especially in PvP. He has been a slashing king. So okay, let us check out the below for PvE. Okay, let me repeat again. So I get this during his demo play. So here we go. So S/1 enemy. For charge. Get double again. Then with a 3C. So 3 actions in a turn. Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, because when he used exclusive skill 1, he does not Okay, I'm not sure did I understand wrongly, but that's. Okay, apparently that's how you can abuse and play with him. Okay, last but not least, we're coming to all important stuff about him. And okay, definitely if this character is coming to your respective server, I definitely gonna suggest to get him, because Heroes Born, he do need Mama Tiana only for defensive bond, and for attack bond he just need to clear his demon class, and that's it. So if you're doing PvE content, you can ignore the defensive part. So all you need to do is just give him faction buff, and this is all the casting or rune emblems materials he will need, so you guys can keep and save with. And class stats, so as you can tell, the demon class definitely gain a better stats for both offensive and defensive. The only stats it loses out is skills, that infantry class has 24 more points, and I think I can ignore the part if I'm doing purely PvE content. PvP wise, environment change, as of the current meta with Papa Vargas, there will not be a lot of holy units, so you might be able to pick demon class to go with. Okay, hard bond for infantry, followed by demon class, level 4 and level 7. So infantry level 4, when receiving attack and going to battle from units with debuff effects, damage you receive will be reduced by 10%. Level 7, when battling with unit whose HP percentage is lower than your unit, when entering battle, increase damage deal by 10%. Demon class level 4, when unit HP is at 100%, damage you receive will be reduced by 10%. Level 7, when you initiate attack against units with HP value higher than yourself, when going into battle, increase damage deal by 10%. Okay, and this is a skill set he received. So aside from his exclusive skills, we also have his older skills. So he has Air Slash, Blazing Sun Slash, Raw. He has Revive, Oppressions, and Armor Break. So he do not have other 1C skills. So alright, we are coming to the end. Last but not least, this is the suggested item builds and enchantment for him. So okay, you can still go with clock enchantment, so you can keep spamming and retaining your 3C or 2Cs that should have entered CD mode when you're at overload, or you can go with breeze to enhance mobility and damage. So on the left are all the items build suggestion for both PvE and PvP. I'll not mention them one by one, but you guys can take a look at it. So right, we have come to the end. This is coming here. What do you guys think about Abishai? Is he strong, normal, or not good at all? Leave it down in the comment sections below. We'll see you guys on third part of the video, and you guys might have guessed by now, we'll be featuring SP Luna. See you guys. Goodbye. And don't forget, after this part, the last part will be the translations I've done for you guys.